Like, how did you organize your life around MCAS?
My whole life was about MCAS. So I started avoiding mold. I got rid of my car. I sold my house. I quit my job. Twice I've thrown away everything that I owned. I just have mostly avoided humans.
Yeah.
As much as possible because they're wearing perfume and they have laundry detergent and they burn candles and they have mold in their house and they don't even know that they have it. I could eat one kind of salt, drink one kind of water, and eat one kind of beef. I carried a cooler with me everywhere because I couldn't just eat anywhere. I just didn't really get to participate in life at all.
Welcome to the Later in Life podcast. I'm Jackie.
I'm Tori.
I'm Canadian.
I'm American.
And I thought I was straight.
And now she's with me.
We are online friends turned lovers. Join us as we navigate relationships, healing, sexuality, identity shifts, and all the chaos that comes with figuring yourself out later in life.
How do I get out of the friend zone? I'm stuck in a one-way, no way.
It's been a minute.
Yeah.
We've been kind of busy.
We were gone for 3 weeks.
Yeah, and I actually brought everything with because we're planning on doing episodes while we were away, but things got busy.
Right. I knew that we would not have time.
Why didn't you tell me?
I just had a feeling.
Right.
We were going to be busy.
Right.
Painting and moving things.
Yeah, but we're back. And this wasn't what the episode today isn't what we were supposed to do.
Right. We were going to do like relationship questions, right?
Something like that. We were going to talk about something else entirely, but then something happened while we were away, and you're pretty popular right now.
Yeah. Or hated, depending on who you ask.
Yeah, I guess so.
I'm taking my shoes off. So we went to Florida, and I expected that when I got there, my house would be off-gassed, and I would be able to stay there.
Yeah.
And as soon as I got there, I realized that the house still smelled like a brand new house. Really, like it's only 6 months old. It really needs like 3 years.
Right.
And my van still smelled like a new van.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I have nowhere to stay. So the first night, I didn't even sleep at all.
Yeah. Well, we rolled in at like 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
And then as soon as we walked in, you were like, oh shit, nothing's changed. Everything's the same.
Yeah. And so I literally just didn't sleep at all. And while everybody else was sleeping in the house, I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with myself. Mm-hmm. And then I came back at like 8:00 in the morning, and I remember standing in the living room.
She's really loud.
It's always the cat. Every episode. I walked back into my house, and I looked at you and I said, like, I don't have another choice.
Yeah.
I have to stay here.
Yeah.
Because I actually tried to stay in a hotel.
Yeah.
And it was moldy, really moldy.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, I don't have an option. So I'm going to have to stay here and I'm
figure
going to have to, you know, if it kills me, like, then I guess it kills me because I'm going to stay here. Mm-hmm. And so I had like the typical VOC symptoms, like my eyes got swollen, my face and my neck felt swollen. I got itchy. I felt like my neck was so tight that I couldn't swallow. And then, I don't know, maybe a couple hours later, they just kind of went away. Mm-hmm. And I went to sleep that night, and I woke up the next day, and I had symptoms, but they weren't intolerable.
Right.
And I thought, that's interesting. Like, because I shouldn't be able to do this.
Right. Like when you think about, and maybe we'll get into this a bit later, but like when you think about the amount of times you fled my house in the middle of the night because I painted less than a year ago and the VOCs were bothering you, like you would get up and leave in the middle of the night because the VOC reactions were so bad.
Yeah. I remember driving to Detroit for like 2 hours in the middle of the night all the time.
Yep.
That was just a few months ago.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. So when that happened and it didn't hurt me, something like flipped in my brain and I was like, holy shit. I was like, if I can stay and sleep in VOCs really, really bad VOCs, like a lot of them. Like every single thing in the house is brand new.
Mm-hmm.
Even the walls are brand new. Then what if I can also apply this to everything else?
Yeah.
Because I had only literally been eating like beef, salt, and water for 6 years.
Yep.
And I was like, well, if I can stay in a house with VOCs and nothing happens to me. Like I had symptoms and then the symptoms started to go away. It was like my brain realized this didn't kill me.
Yep.
And then the symptoms, the volume started to turn down on everything.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
It's like, this is brain retraining. Just like, I had to like push myself over the edge. So, then I started with the food. I had already been doing a little bit of food experimentation.
Yeah. Before you left.
Right. Before I left. And it was like 50-50. Like some things I would try and I would get them back. And some things I would try and have symptoms and stop, because I thought that symptoms meant failure.
Right.
So I thought if I eat something and I get a symptom, like I get itchy or I feel like my throat's tight or something starts to swell, then that means I failed the food and I can't have it.
That you have an actual allergic reaction to the food.
Right.
Yeah.
And what I realized is that you could have nervous system symptoms that are similar to allergic symptoms, but are not dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
So I started distinguishing whether I felt intuitively like my symptoms were from my nervous system or from an allergy. And when I pushed myself, it was uncomfortable and it was scary.
Mm-hmm.
But when I pushed myself through the symptoms, I realized they were nervous system symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
Even like rashes and itching can be nervous system symptoms, which nobody told me. Nobody
Right.
talks about that.
Right.
So then I realized I could apply this to everything. So whereas when I was in Canada and I was just like taking little sips of coffee
And waiting to see what would happen.
Right.
Yeah.
I would go to the hospital and
Yeah.
sit in the hospital parking lot for an hour
Yeah.
to make sure I was okay. And then I thought, oh, I got a little bit itchy. It's not for me.
Yeah.
Or I ate this ice cream and 3 days later I got eczema on my hands and I thought, well, I'm not healed enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that was recent. That was what, I think in May?
That was in May. Yeah.
Just in May.
So before we like get into all of that stuff, I think it's helpful for people to understand, because there's been a lot of pushback online saying, well, you never actually had all of these things, MCAS and all of the things. So do you want to like give a list of what you were diagnosed with and what a typical day looked like for you over the last 6 years?
Yeah. And they also like can just go back and watch the first 5 episodes of our podcast where we change beds 5 times and talk about how I had to carry a cooler with me up and down, an elevator in a hotel that I didn't think I could stay in.
Yeah.
So it's all there too. But so I was diagnosed with mast cell activation after I had major mold exposure, antibiotics, tons of antibiotics. They said I had MCAS. They said I had CIRS, which is CIRS, which is chronic inflammatory response syndrome that people get when they're exposed to massive amounts of mold. I was on one food. That was my safe food. I had anaphylaxis. I still carry EpiPens with me everywhere. Mm-hmm. I was on 4 Zysol a day, 2 Pepcid a day, every single day. And I was diagnosed by, I think it was 3 different doctors that I talked to.
Yeah.
And then because I was being treated for different symptoms and for different problems, one of them was like a gastroenterologist, one of them was a primary care doctor, and one of them was more of like a functional medicine doctor. All came to the same conclusion, that I had mast cell activation. Mm-hmm. But people believe that you can't heal MCAS, even though there are thousands of stories online that suggest otherwise.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they haven't been exposed to that information.
Yeah. Well, I don't think people get exposed until they start looking for it, right? Until you start really digging and finding it. That's when you find it. And the brain is actually really funny, because whatever you believe is all the brain sees. Like when you think about, whenever I've gotten a new car, I never saw that car, but as soon as I start driving that car, I see it everywhere. There's like I can't remember what it's called. reticular activating system in the back of your brain. And so until you open yourself up and expose yourself to more things, it's not going to believe that these other opportunities exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think you can find evidence of anything that you're looking for.
Yes, you can.
So you might as well look for evidence of the things that you want
Yes.
to be true.
Yes. I can go back and think about all of the ways, like, how did you organize your life around MCAS? Like, what sort of things were you doing to organize your life around it?
My whole life was about MCAS. So I started avoiding mold, and I believed I was, allergic to it, and it would make me super ill and keep me ill forever. So I got rid of my car. I sold my house. I quit my job. All of them were moldy.
How many you've like ditched your belongings?
Right.
3 times.
Yeah. So twice I've thrown away everything that I owned, and started over. Like it's been an incredibly expensive thing to do. I just have mostly avoided humans.
Yeah.
As much as possible, because they're wearing perfume and they have laundry detergent and they burn candles and they have mold in their house and they don't even know that they have it. It's on their ceiling and they don't even notice it. So just like avoidance as much as possible, not being able to go out to eat, not being able to even eat from a grocery store. I had to get special food from a farm that was low in histamine. I could eat one kind of salt, drink one kind of water, and eat one kind of beef. And so everything was based around that. I carried a cooler with me everywhere because I couldn't just eat anywhere. I just didn't really get to participate in life at all. Mm-hmm. If I was out somewhere and people were smoking, I'd have to go away from where they were. And I just it wasn't really a life.
Right.
It wasn't really a life. I was sort of just staying alive. Spent a lot of my time at the emergency room.
Yeah.
Either inside or in the parking lot. I tried not to go in. I already had a backpack full of steroids and EpiPens and things to try to not have to go in every time.
Yeah.
Because it's $500 each time you go in.
I remember the first time you came to Canada, I think we went to the hospital 4 times in that week, and we sat in the parking lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I took drugs and tried not to have to go in.
Yeah.
And that was kind of my life. So that was a regular occurrence, at least once a week, probably. I remember a few times where I made it a whole month without going to the emergency room, and I was so happy.
When's the last time you've been to an emergency room? No. When's the last time? Oh, before we left, and you were trying the ice cream.
Right. But I didn't actually go in. I just sat in the parking lot.
Sat in the parking lot
because I was uncomfortable.
It's your safety. It was a safety net.
It was a way to make myself feel safe enough to try the food.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing, is the fear, because it's traumatizing to have scary symptoms.
Yeah.
And then you become afraid to try anything.
Yeah.
So it's possible that I could have tried all these things sooner, and but
it was the fear.
Was afraid.
Yeah.
So it took me getting to a point of having no other choice and having my back against the wall.
And what's so interesting is I remember the day that I remember when we were in Florida and you came in and you said, I have no other choice. I'm just going to do it. And this was a pattern that I had noticed the very first time you made the choice to try ice cream. You were just I'm just going to do it. Right. And then the same thing with coffee. You just I have no other, I'm just going to do it. So every time you just made a choice to do something, it was it flipped, which was really interesting.
Right. I don't know. And I think you would be better at explaining what that is.
So this is why attention is really important. If I'm always focused on the fear, on the symptoms, on, the beliefs that I have about these certain things, then that's exactly what I'm going to experience. And this is, again, what I was speaking about, the reticular activating system. It's a filter. It filters what you see. And so if I believe all of these horrible negative things, that's all I'm going to see. And there's so much, research online about how the brain works, neuroscience, and how the brain works that supports all of this. So if I am only focusing on negative, I'm only going to experience negative. If I'm only focused on fear, I'm only going to experience things that are fearful. And so with that logic, then the same thing can be applied to our illnesses. If I'm focused on the symptoms, if I'm afraid of the symptoms, if everything I do in my life is organized around avoidance, then that's going to be what my life is. So I think, like, from my experience of observing you over the last few weeks, it came down to making a choice that I did not want to live this life anymore.
Mm-hmm. Well, and then when you tell people online not to call themselves a spoonie anymore, or canary, and they get really angry, and they want to kill you for that because they feel like you're telling them not to participate socially, or like not to have a community. And I'm trying to explain to them why it's so important not to identify as your symptoms unless you want to keep them forever.
Yeah. And this is what identity work is, right? So everything I tell myself about myself is what I'm going to believe is true. And so I remember, one of the first things I said to you, and this was really difficult for you, was, stop identifying as somebody who's sick. Like you would say to me multiple times throughout the day how sick you were and how bad your symptoms were. And by repeatedly saying, I am sick, I'm sick, I'm sick, I am is the most powerful phrase in, when it comes to identity. I am is identity. And so if I say I am sick, that's exactly what I'm training my brain to believe. And so my brain is constantly going to be looking for all of the reasons why I'm sick.
And then everything that I saw online reinforced the same idea. Every video is some functional medicine doctor telling you that you need a gut test and that the bacteria in your body is, undermining your health, and that you need these specific probiotics or you can't heal. If you don't leave the mold, you can't heal. If you don't blank, then you can't heal. And none of that stuff really made sense for my life. So I was sort of hypnotized into believing that I couldn't heal. And so it's not just what I was telling myself, is what everybody else was telling me too.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that there was any other information out there. Mm-hmm. It's not as easy to find.
It's not. And not until you look for it.
I went looking for it, and it took me some time to find it.
Yeah.
And my experience was that it did not matter. I ate the same ice cream a month apart. And the first time I got eczema on my hands, and the second time I didn't. And the only thing that changed was my mindset. And I decided not to identify that way anymore. And I said, well, I'm not that person anymore. Mm-hmm. It's over for me. Mm-hmm. It's over for me. And it was. And it's hard to explain that to people, that that's possible, because all they're told every day is that, it costs thousands of dollars to get well. You have to do all these specific things or you'll never get well.
And you did all of the things, right?
Right.
You did all of that. How much money did you spend?
Oh my God.
Over the course of your life?
Probably at least $100,000 trying to get better. And I didn't. And even leaving the mold didn't get well. Yeah. I was like, I can't believe this. I left the mold. I still can't eat ice cream.
Well, even you left the mold, you ditched your car. When you were finally mold free, how long ago were you finally mold free after you got the car? It was right before we left for Florida.
Was that April?
April, maybe? Yeah.
End of April?
Yeah. Right before you came to Canada. You were 100% mold free. But we thought. But you were still having the exact, you would kiss me and think that there was something on my mouth, and you would go to the bathroom and spit and it's a good thing I wasn't insecure.
I was like, whatever you're eating, I don't want it. I'm afraid I'll react to it.
Yeah.
Whatever you've got.
Yeah. So you were still very much organized. Even though you left the mold, you were still organizing in anticipation of symptoms. And so you were sort of creating, what I recognized through observing you was there was a loop.
Yeah. And I was trying to keep myself safe by shielding myself from everything.
Yeah.
Smells and chemicals and foods and mold and everything else. But what I didn't realize is that by thinking that the only way to keep myself safe was avoidance. I was communicating to my brain that I wasn't safe 24/7 and that everything was dangerous. And so
that your nervous system stays on hyper alert. You're hyper vigilantly scanning your environment for danger all the time.
And so I had to get past the fear that everything was dangerous and realize that actually, like, I'm not really in any danger at all. Even if, you know, I try something and it fails, like I can use an EpiPen, I'm not going to die. There's like a hospital, you know, every 15 feet, I'm not going to die. So I'm really actually not in any danger at all. It would just be uncomfortable. So it's kind of worth it to try. But the fear is what keeps people from even trying. And I understand why, because you can go into a flare and it lasts a week and you're miserable. I understand. It makes you want to not live. But I had to get...
and talk to that. Like, you've been in these Facebook communities, you've been in these chronic illness communities where there's a lot of suicide because of these conditions.
Yeah. And I understand, because it takes everything away from you. If you can't be social and you can't participate in life, it makes it hard to date. It makes it hard to make friends. It's isolating. And you can't enjoy life. Like, you watch your life pass you by. You can't participate in anything, really. There are people who are bedbound, which I believe I would have been if I wasn't taking Adderall. And I understand why. But when you get to that point, it's, you know, you have to make a choice about if you're going to accept it or not. And then you have to try, and you have to sit in the discomfort. So people think that if you're healed, you have no symptoms. I have nervous system symptoms still. And some people would argue and say, well, then you're not healed. But the thing is, MCAS is defined by immunological reactions and allergies, which I do not have anymore. I don't have the eczema anymore. I don't have the hives anymore. My throat isn't closing. I'm not going into anaphylaxis. You know, I have nervous system symptoms that make me nervous. Like, my eyes will do weird things still sometimes. But I notice that they go away and they're inconsistent. So separately another time, maybe we'll make a post or something about nervous system symptoms and how to recognize them, because they feel the same. But
well, when you thinking about nervous system, and like, I know a lot about the nervous system is always trying to keep you safe. That's its job. Its job is to keep you safe. And so anytime it recognizes a potential threat, it's going to fire something. And, you know, when it comes to your, you know, chronic illness and all your symptoms, it's firing symptoms to say, like, warning, danger, this might not actually be good for us. But it's the same thing you said. A lot of people think that when you're healed, you no longer have symptoms. From the work that I do with the nervous system for emotional trauma, a lot of people think that when you're healed, you no longer get triggered, but that's just simply not true. It's revealing a pattern that lives inside of your nervous system. And then you get to make a choice of whether you follow the pattern. My nervous system is warning me this is dangerous. I get to choose whether or not, you know, I agree, or you can do something different, right?
Right. And I don't want people to think that I'm promoting DNRS, because I'm not. So there's different brain retraining programs that exist. They're all fairly expensive. And I don't agree with what they're doing. I was never helped by what they were doing. So DNRS tells you that when you get a symptom, you're supposed to tell it to stop. And that's the opposite of allowing, which is what helped me get better. So I would never recommend anybody do DNRS. I know some people have been helped by it, and that's fine, but it didn't work for me. So what worked for me was I needed the symptoms to get well, because the symptoms were opportunities for me to practice retraining my brain.
Yes.
So every time I got a symptom, I would eat something and then I would feel weird. Like sparkling water makes me feel dizzy, which doesn't make any sense. I would say, oh, I know what's happening. My brain's sending me a signal to let me know that it's uncomfortable with what I'm doing right now. I'm drinking sparkling water and I haven't had this in 6 years. So it thinks everything's dangerous still. So I'm going to allow the symptoms to be here. I know I'm dizzy. I know I don't feel good. I know I have a headache. I know I'm getting stuffy. That's fine. I know it's here because my body's trying to, or my brain's trying to warn me, and that's totally fine. But I have it under control. I know how to keep myself safe. If there's actually an issue, I can go to the hospital or whatever I need to do.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm trying to get something done today. So I'm going to bring all these symptoms with me, and we're going to go out and do our errands today, and they can come with me. I don't care if I'm itchy or stuffy or my eyes a little swollen. That's fine. And then it takes away all the resistance of trying to get rid of the symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
I can do my errands with symptoms.
Mm-hmm.
And when I do that over and over and over again, the symptoms sort of go down, like the volume gets turned down until they totally go away.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happened when I reintroduced coffee. It took me about a week and a half, 2 weeks to get fully comfortable with coffee,
Mm-hmm.
which I drink 3 times a day now.
Mm-hmm.
But before, when I would drink the coffee, it would make my throat feel tight. I would feel weird, feel anxious, tightness in my chest, itchy sometimes on my forearms or whatever. And I just kept doing that over and over again.
Yeah.
I was like, I know coffee's not dangerous. I know I don't have a true coffee allergy, like on a blood test. So everything that's coming at me must be my nervous system trying to protect me. Like, this is new. We don't want you to do this. This is something new. I don't think it's safe because I think everything is dangerous. So don't try anything new.
Yeah.
So I just take all the symptoms and I put them on my shoulder and I say, come with me. We're going to the store today. And when I do that over and over and over again, the alarms start to turn off because my brain's realizing that, oh, like, you know, she's not going to the hospital.
Yeah.
She's not having a panic attack. She's not taking fistfuls of medication. She's just going to the store. If we were in danger, she wouldn't be doing that. So I guess I could turn these alarms off now.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been happening over and over. I've been turning the alarms off one by one. And now I'm 100% on anything.
Okay, on coffee. What's interesting about the coffee too was it wasn't just it was like a process. First, you were okay with one kind of coffee.
Yeah, I drank Starbucks cold brew every day, and then I realized this is not practical financially or otherwise. So
then you had to retrain your brain to have different types. Your brain realized Starbucks cold brew was safe, but when it came to like other coffees, you know, then the alarms would fire again.
yeah, it came back.
Yeah.
And I noticed that I have to keep doing this even now.
Yeah.
When every time I try something that's even a little bit different, like a different brand of guacamole or a different kind of egg or whatever, it happens again.
Yeah.
So there's still nervous system symptoms that are there.
Yeah.
It doesn't impact my life at all. I keep doing whatever I want to do, but I do sometimes have symptoms come back.
Yeah.
And that's why. But
And
as long
it's
as I
normal.
understand why it's happening and where it comes from, I don't think it's a problem.
I think you said something really important too, which was where you're locating safety, right? A lot of like you're locating safety within yourself. No matter what happens, I know that I can keep myself safe. I can go to the hospital. I have an EpiPen. I have all of the things that I need no matter what happens, right? You're moving past the fear and you're locating the safety within yourself. Whereas I think a lot of people, the safety lives in the avoidance.
Yeah. And I could have done all these things at once, truly. Like I could have gone to my house, been in my brand new car, and tried all the foods at once, but it would have overloaded my brain. And I think it would have been too much. And they call that, like, sometimes in like the mind body space, like you don't want to flood yourself, because then it can take you backwards because your brain can produce a lot of symptoms. And then you feel like it just gets confusing and disorienting. So that's the purpose of going slow.
Yeah.
I don't have to go slow. I didn't have to do it slowly. I could have done it all at once.
Yeah.
But I decided to pace it because I don't want to flood myself.
It's like learning how to walk. You're learning how to walk again.
Right. So there are some things, like I just started using soap again in public bathrooms because it's all scented. And like using other people's towels that have chemicals on them. I stopped wiping out the dryer when I moved the laundry over because I'm using it after somebody else has used it. I stopped wiping the residue out of the dryer to avoid the chemicals, but I'm doing them at a little bit at a time. So I have all my foods back, but I am not drinking sparkling water because I don't feel like dealing with it right now. I know I could. I can safely drink sparkling water. I don't want to deal with the mental load that it gives me when I have to walk myself through drinking it and walking myself through all the symptoms. So that one I've left alone for now. So I'm just making choices about how I'm doing this and doing it carefully and slowly because that's how it feels best.
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of the pushback you've been getting online, a lot of people are saying that we're suggesting that you ignore your symptoms.
Right, which would be the opposite of what we're doing.
Yeah, like we've just described how we're not ignoring
DNRS and Gupta, I feel like, sort of encourages you to ignore your symptoms in a way. When you're telling them to stop, like when it comes up and then you're just telling it to stop and you're changing your thoughts, it's ignoring it, which is why the alarms are going to get louder.
Which keeps reinforcing it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the alarms are just going to stay there and get louder. So instead, what I've been doing is allowing the symptoms to be there and acknowledging them. I know why you're here. I see that you're here. I understand why. I will let you be here. It's fine. I don't care if I have to do my errands while I'm itchy and broken out, but I'm going to do them anyway.
So this is by no means like, are we suggesting that this is any medical advice? Don't take this advice in lieu of your doctor. Do whatever you want to do. But how would you describe to people the difference between a nervous system symptom and a true allergy?
Well, true allergies can be verified on blood work. And so many times people with MCAS go to the doctor and all their blood work comes back fine.
Right.
And they say there's nothing wrong with you.
Right.
And meanwhile, the person is like on death's door.
Right.
So that's one thing is like get a real allergy test. But also like you can kind of tell, I had anaphylaxis that would start within 2 minutes of eating something, versus nervous system symptoms that, you know, they feel really scary and uncomfortable, but they come and go. They are not always consistent. So like I might have headaches today when I eat this food, and then tomorrow I get like leg pain, and then the next day I get like, you know, chest pain, and then the next time I try it I get an itchy throat, but I had it before and that it wasn't consistent. So nervous system symptoms are random and inconsistent a lot of the time, or they vary in intensity. They come and go with they come and go, you know, depending on the circumstances and where you're at. Sometimes you have them, sometimes you don't, and they change. Whereas like if I eat this food and I'm anaphylactic to it, I'm going to be in the ER in about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
I'm going to know. So, but it's something you have to be willing to experiment with in order to find out.
Yeah.
But I think a blood test is a good place to start for peace of mind. Before you start doing things like that. But if you go to the doctor and the doctor says there's nothing wrong with you and you feel like you're on death's door, there's something wrong with your nervous system.
Yeah.
And that's most people.
Yeah. And I put this in the free resource, so we can talk about the free resource in a bit, but like there is a difference between having a sensation and having a story attached to the sensation, and learning how to separate those two things is probably one of the most important things that can be done.
Yeah. And I also like my blood work wasn't perfect. Like finally now my blood work is coming back and looking better. But so I wouldn't say, because people are going to say, oh, well, it was all in your head.
Yeah.
I had, like I said, I had diagnosed MCAS. I have to repeat this. Diagnosed CIRS. And I failed all the tests. Like when I took the CIRS test, it immediately came back and it was like, you have CIRS. You have it bad. And when I took, they did so many tests on me, so many functional medicine tests, Western medicine doctor tests, blood tests, respiratory tests. I had all the things. My white blood cells were so low. The first blood test I did, they said it looked like I had lupus on paper. And my white blood cells were all messed up, and all the things. So, that's another thing is like, I wouldn't suggest getting attached to what's on the paper either.
Yeah.
And what the doctors tell you. I had the doctors tell me that I would never have a period again. I didn't have a period for 8 years. And they told me that my ovaries were dead and dried up, and it was all over at 32. And then it came back when I changed my diet, and now everything is fine.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't get attached to any beliefs necessarily about your health, no matter where they come from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So, do you think that I want to talk about what we're doing now, but is there anything else that you think that people need to hear before we move on to what's next?
I think that's good.
Yeah. Okay. So what was so funny is on the way home, we were driving home and we were talking about, the belief that a lot of people hold, which is that you cannot heal in mold. And you said to me, Jackie, we need to show people and give people an example of how it is actually possible to heal in mold. And then we come into my house after being away from my house for 3 weeks. And what did we discover?
So I hate this one. I hate mold. I have a belief that mold is evil. So this one's really hard for me because I hate mold. Although this started for me with mold. But I've come to realize there are a lot of people on the internet that are like, I can't leave. So what am I supposed to do? Just believe that I'll never get well because I can't leave. So I get here and I'm like, well, I have two choices. I can move out of my fiance's house and not live with her and run from mold my whole life and be by myself in my little sterile bubble that I build for myself where I will have no symptoms, but also no life.
Yeah.
Or I can maybe work on the belief that you can heal in mold and that mold is not the actual problem. Mold dysregulates your nervous system.
Absolutely.
Mold is a neurotoxin. It comes for you. It comes for your brain. But the thing is, there are way more people that are not affected by mold than are.
Yeah.
And there are people that are affected by mold to varying degrees. Like some people just get a stuffy nose.
Yeah.
Some people, their entire life falls apart.
And you've mentioned before that MCAS and trauma are deeply related.
I don't know that there's anybody with MCAS who doesn't also have a history of trauma.
Right.
So
trauma puts your nervous system already in a survival loop.
Yeah. So it's trauma predisposes you to all kinds of autoimmune diseases and conditions and asthma and so many other things. There are people that just leave stressful jobs and stressful relationships and all of their health symptoms go into remission. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't think we all understand how linked mental health and environment and your emotional world is with your health. I don't think there's been a lot of research there.
There's, I'll just throw this out there for anybody listening. If you haven't watched the documentary Heal, it speaks directly to that. I would recommend that.
Right. So, and I looked and there's not a lot of personal stories about people who got better in the mold, but that's because the overwhelming belief is that you can't. So, but I did find enough evidence to work on changing my beliefs there. So, so that's something that I'm going to keep working on. Mm-hmm. It does right now, I'm so uncomfortable with all of it still. Mm-hmm. So I'm still in the process of working on changing my beliefs, but I do know intuitively that the answer is not to continue to run from mold.
Yeah.
And
well, it's impossible.
It is impossible. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
I know that's not the solution. And I know that so many people are unaffected.
Yeah.
So, genes can be turned on and off.
Yeah.
So that's kind of irrelevant to me.
Yeah. Anytime somebody brings up epigenetic or genes, I always say, well, epigenetics sort of debunks the whole, yes, it's there, but whether or not it gets turned on is, related to your environment.
Yeah. So that's something that we're going to keep posting about.
Yeah.
In the next few weeks.
Yeah. So we have put together a free little PDF guidebook of 7 perspective shifts to just sort of maybe begin a brain retraining path. And we're going to work on some more resources as well for people, like things that helped you. We got a little ebook that we're in the process of making. So stay tuned.
Let's go eat lunch.
Okay. Sounds good.